welcome you all to the Bullet Hole Podcast. I'm Lyle Cadell, the media manager here at the Bullet Hole. Today we have a very, very special guest with us. And I know we're doing the Zoom thing still. It is 2021, but that's okay. We'll be all right. We're going to survive. And we did it with Scotty from Nighthawk, and I know with Zach from CZ. Today we have with us Julie Golob. Julie, welcome to the Bullet Hole Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Julie is a spokesperson, I guess, or are you a brand ambassador, or what do they call you?
Yep, you can any of the above. Okay. I don't get too picky on titles.
And she works for Smith Wesson, and I noticed you have your federal shirt on today too, as well.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Some may not know how you got all that bling behind you back there and how you got into the shooting sports and stuff. But tell us a little bit. I know you actually have a military background too that some people might not know.
I do.
So maybe let us in on how did you start and get to where you're at today?
How did it all begin? Is that what you're asking?
That's how did it all begin?
Story time with Julie. I grew up in upstate New York, of all places, and I was my dad's little sidekick. So I went everywhere with him, and he was an avid shooter and hunter. So that's kind of where the spark started, right? And he actually started competing in a sport called USPSA, United States Practical Shooting Association. And I would tag along with him and volunteer to run the timer and take score and all that good stuff when I think I first started going when I was 8 years old. And by the time I turned 14, my dad and I decided, yep, I'm ready. I was ready to give it a try. So that's when I jumped in and shot my first competition. Wow. It'll be 30 years.
You didn't have to say that.
June, I think. I know. I'm dating myself. It's okay. But it was a while ago.
Cool.
And
that's really awesome.
Yeah. And it was such a neat daddy-daughter time. All my friends were out there rebelling and acting all crazy as teenagers. And I was hanging out with Dad at the range. It was the best. Yeah.
Idle hands become the devil's playground. So. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I actually caught on pretty quickly. I was getting the skills down, and I went to my first national championship as a junior in high school, and it was there that I caught the attention of the Army shooting team and their coach, and they said, "Hey, do you wanna maybe shoot for the Army?" And so I went home from that nationals and walked in the front door and said, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm joining the Army."
There you go.
There you go. So it was a little bit of a surprise.
How many years did you spend in the military?
About 8. Yep.
Wow.
8 years. Yep. Yep. Down at good old Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yeah. So now you've been with Smith & Wesson as a brand ambassador or spokesperson for how long now? So
it's funny, actually. When I was a junior competitor, they were my first gun sponsor. So I've been with Smith since the very, very beginning. Of course, in between there was Army and some time off, but officially as a team member, in my adult life, 2006 when I joined up.
So you would have just came in on the M&P then?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. Yeah.
That would have been 2005 was the first year for it, I believe. Yep. So, wow, you've been from the very beginning with the M&P. Oh. And now, what are some of the trophies behind you that you won? So some of the things that you have back there.
Oh gosh, these are all world and national titles. So this is my reserve space, or matches that have a little special meaning for me. But yeah, it's been quite the journey. A lot of fun, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but a lot of joy as well.
That's incredible. And then you do some training as well, with ladies specifically.
And, Yep. I worked with a lot of women. Started out, you've heard of Kay Michalik and Lena Michalik and their ladies camps. Yep. I was one of the original instructors there, and a lot over the years with various different women's groups. And it's really exciting. Yeah. And I understand things are coming to the bullet hole.
They are. We are starting our own program called Empower or Empower.
Mhm.
So as ladies look forward to that, I mean, what would be your advice to ladies looking at a training program, encouraging them? What would be your advice to them in that area?
I think the biggest hurdle for most women is they don't want to pull the trigger on training,
Mm.
all punning intended, because they feel maybe overwhelmed. And this is why a program like yours is so good, because it's women focused, it's women with women. There's no machismo things to worry about. There's no little lady stuff going on. There's no aggressive training, which a lot of women find very off-putting. It's just practical knowledge, support, empowerment, all of these things that, everybody looks forward to when they start shooting, whether they're male or female. But having that kind of network to be able to meet with other women and experience something together is always, always fun. And as an instructor, it's so neat to be able to see the progress and the change that happens over time.
And maybe someday we're hoping, because you're kind of a local. We're not going to disclose exactly where you live at, but you're kind of a local to us. But maybe someday,
city area,
someday we will have Julie down. I know her daughter, or your daughter, has some health issues right now, and but maybe once some of that passes, we want to have you down.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, to come down. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, I know we were talking about it off air here. And we've actually sold some of them already here in the shop. And this is something you've been really involved with. Here's the launch of the new Shield Plus.
Yes.
And we kind of did a satirical video somewhat. And, well, it actually never aired. But we put it together. Well, asking if we had plus sizes is what it was.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, just kind of go off of it, but this little gun right here, this is one of the last ones in the shop right now. Tell us a little bit about, because you know a heck of a lot more than I do on this gun. What went into the Shield Plus?
I even have my own here. I can bring into the picture in the frame. Really, really exciting stuff. So many people are aware of the Shield platform. We launched it a few years ago, and since then, we've actually sold 3 million of them. It's very, very popular. Yeah. And one of the things that really sets the Shield apart from a lot of other micro compacts is the fact that even though it is small and slim, it still shoots like a full-size gun. So a lot of times, the smaller the gun, the snappier and the less pleasant it is to shoot. Well, the Shield is actually very, very nicely designed, ergonomically designed, so it really shoots well. The only challenge is with a micro compact is capacity. Yep. So we were limited to 7 and 8 rounds. But thanks to the engineers at Smith Wesson, you now have the same basic upper size of a standard Shield, so super slim, but with a 13+1 capacity. So it's really neat. It's kind of like a lot of people have heard of a double stack magazine or single stack magazines. Yep. This is almost like 1.5 stack, I like to call it, because it's able to get the capacity well over 10 rounds. And it works great in this platform by still keeping things very, very slim. The grip size is actually just swelled slightly over the standard Shield. So unless you're really in tune with it, you may not even notice the size difference. That's how much slimmer it is. So it's pretty exciting. And then, of course, the other big news with the Shield Plus that a lot of people are super excited about is the fact that it has a flat face trigger, which is all the rage.
I have owned 2 Shields myself, and then my wife actually carries the Shield,
nice.
a Turk and Seal carry piece. And I don't know, she might be, she is a 1.0. I mean, what she bought. She went and bought it. That was her decision and everything herself. Actually, and she might, I don't know, she might change her mind and say that she wants this. But the 2.0 didn't really, because the texture wasn't a real big thing to her. So why do I need to upgrade? This kind of changes the ball game right here.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. The texture on the 2.0 models is much grippier and more aggressive. But they've actually toned things back on the Shield Plus. So it's kind of halfway between the original 1.0 and the 2.0. So it's got a good amount of texture. But, when we're thinking about it, most of the time we're carrying this at appendix or on the hip. And if we don't have an undershirt or a base layer under the clothing, our main concealing clothing, it can be a little sensitive. It can rub a little bit in the wrong places. And people who aren't used to shooting a whole lot can really feel it in their hands. But this is kind of just a nice grippy level. It's kind of like almost like a step tape kind of feel.
It is, and I noticed that there is a slight difference. I didn't even think about that between the 2.0 and this one. That flat face trigger though does also my wife. See, now my wife, that isn't a big deal. For us, some of us guys that might be carrying this right here, we all like the flat face triggers. All comes with the 3-dot sights that are steel. What you expect from Smith & Wesson, lifetime warranty, the whole deal. But I really think this 13 rounds, so 13 plus 1. In another thing, they fit in all the holsters that you would have for your 1.0 or 2.0, correct?
Yes. I actually have a couple I can show you. This is a little Safariland 17T, and it fits just fine in now. There may be some very fine-tuned Kydex style holsters that might not work, but the vast majority of them we are finding. And definitely, here's a leather one right here. The leather works just as well. The leather's very forgiving. But they do work. And what's neat is it seems and feels and looks so much like a 1.0 or a 2.0 Shield, except with that capacity factor that's been increased, the flat face trigger. There's also an ambidextrous magazine release as well. So I've actually switched it out on this gun. So you can see, this is my right hand. You can switch it over. So if you are left-handed, that's really a nice option, and it's super easy. The only hard part is finding a little screwdriver that's small enough. But if you have one of those, it's going to be just fine.
I didn't know you could do that with that. That's a new one on me there. So now you have the without the thumb safety. I have the one with the thumb safety right here. In my experience, and I've owned both. And my wife has one with the thumb safety. I've never activated it, while shooting or anything like that. And I've, done some hardcore training with them. It's not something where somebody's gonna, accidentally activate it. I don't think deactivate it if they choose to use it. Have you found it to be, difficult to deactivate on the draw?
It's I actually prefer the no thumb safety version of the Shields, just because it is a smaller thumb safety. Now I'm just going to switch gears here. This is an easy. This has such a bigger thumb safety, and if a pistol has a thumb safety that's like this, I'm an old school 1911 girl. I love a high grip, riding the safety kind of thing. So for me, I have to have a good size paddle, which is why I opt to go with a no thumb safety option. But there are plenty of people out there who do like it, and they're able to use this portion of their thumb to deactivate it as necessary.
What would be your, from a training perspective, what would be your advice to somebody that with this specific model with a thumb safety, with practice and stuff, what would be your advice to them? To get used to that?
It's the best thing you can. Dry fire is one of the best things you can do, because you have all the time in the world at home, right? Save your range time for precious range time, because we all know it can be a challenge, right? Whether it's scheduling or just lots of people coming to the range, what have you. But, just make sure you don't have any ammunition around you, and just practice drawing and deactivating that safety every single time. It's one of the things that we do in competition all the time, because we have to have those advanced gun handling skills. So activating and deactivating a safety is just second nature to me. And it just takes practice. It just takes time with the gun. Yeah.
Now, these little guys, I'm assuming, might be kind of hard to get for right now, but coming in the future, they'll be coming to the market quite heavily because people are going to be wanting them, the 13-round mags. However, it comes with, in the box, with a standard 10 round, which is more than what you got before. 8 was what you got
Yep,
before. So
absolutely.
this, just the little flush fit is 10 rounds. So that's 2 rounds more. And this kind of is in that, P365, Hellcat, all in that whole line of micro subcompacts. But it's just a really, really good piece, and you guys, and Smith and Wesson uses still the steel frame within the polymer. Is that right?
Yes. So this,
On
like
this?
the 2.0s, has that extended steel chassis. Exactly. So it's going to reduce that flexing and torque that you would feel again. So it feels a lot like a full size gun.
Yeah.
And when you mention the 10 round mags, this is a major bonus. You think about all those states that have 10 round capacity limits. So we can ship these to states and meet their requirements by having a 10 round magazine option, which is nice, because a lot of times you're stuck, right? If you're stuck with legislation and conditions in your state that make it challenging.
And to that point, we do have some family out in California, and so I'll go out and visit with my wife, and so safely it's locked away. I abide by the laws while I'm in the state of California, and however, in the state of California, once you get into your hotel room, which is considered your domicile, you can actually have it on your person. So anyhow, let folks know I do obey the laws when I go to the state of California. But what I've taken to the state of California is a shield, and that's because of that very thing. At the time, it was just a regular 8 round capacity, but because of capacity, that's what and I felt very safe. And one of the things that I've, and maybe you can speak to this, a lot of times micro compacts, because just their designs, and I mean, you're like looking at an explosion going off in your hand, essentially. They do snap, like you talked about earlier. But one of the things that I found, because of just the heft of the build of the shield, you can keep on target really easily. And, like I said, I've done quite a bit of training with them, and you're not, bouncing around all over and everything. And I think that's just a real big plus.
Yeah.
Unintended. So, but
we're all full of them today.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, have you, from a competition, have you ever used that as like in a bug competition? Have you ever used a shield?
I have actually. Wow. I've actually competed with a performance center version, a ported version at an IDPA match at one point. I think the big thing is, obviously you have the steel chassis, internal steel chassis inside the frame that's going to reduce, again, that flexing, that torquing. But also it's an 18-degree grip angle. And that's so classic for Americans. It feels so comfortable. Now, granted, if you start on a different platform, it may not feel as comfortable for you. But for so many Americans that have started out with American-made pistols, it feels very, very comfortable. And it points very, very naturally. It moves very well. It has enough heft to it to kind of absorb some of that recoil, but it's also very quick to transition from target to target. So it's a lot of fun if you can ever get to a match where you can shoot a backup gun like this. And now with 13 and 10 round magazines, it's just going to be that much easier to load versus a single stack mag. So if you compare the two, this is an original shield mag, right? And with this tapering in the front, it makes it that much easier to be able to fit inside the funnel here and make a fast reload. So that's a competition aspect, but it certainly translates over to CCW as well, because sometimes you feel like that little kid who's got the star in the star hole trying to make it all perfect when you're little, right? That's what reloading a single stack feels like sometimes. But with the dimensions of the Shield Plus mag, it just makes it that much easier to reload.
Here's a question. Do you carry the Shield Plus now on a regular basis?
I just got this gun. It will be my new carry gun. I have the standard white dot sights, but I'm going to put some Trijicon DIs on there and have some fun with it. I also want the 4-inch. I want to put an RMRCC on the 4-inch.
We had that in the shop, and it didn't even last 4 days. It was
I
fun.
believe it. I believe it.
It was
I
a
have
great package.
yeah, I have the standard 4-inch version that's, a 2.0 and the dots off it for right now. But there's something about a 4-inch too that it
Yeah.
just, the balance of it is really nice. And if you ever get a chance to shoot them side by side, don't just say, oh, I want one over the other. You really want to try them both and
Yeah.
get a chance to see, or buy them both.
No,
Makes me happy too. Makes you happy.
and with it came with it's a Crimson Trace dot.
It is. Yeah.
That it comes with. It was a great package, and I mean, it just flew off the shelf.
Oh yeah.
And, so it was. Now we're. I was hoping when we talked about doing this episode, I thought, well, we'll still have it around,
No, I know. No, somebody scooped that up.
Yeah, and that's good, But and I know in the Shield EZ that you brought up there too, for ladies in particular, and for those who maybe are elderly. For instance, my folks are 86 and 82.
Yeah.
They have my dad has arthritis real bad in his hands. But that right there, I tell you what, we have just sold a ton of those things because people, once they sit there and work that action.
Oh yeah, all day long. I mean, I can use just 2 fingers here. And it's really easy. The name is, it says it all. It's really a great option. I will say that with the 1.0, the 2.0 shields, and even with the Shield Plus, it is a stiff recoil spring. It's something that you're going to have to, have proper technique in order to rack the slide. I do not have to have proper technique to rack the slide. It's so easy. And it's really a purpose-built pistol for people who are looking, a first-time gun owner, someone who has hand issues, someone who's just wanting something that's easy to take apart and take care of, easy to load the mags. It's really a good option.
But for ladies, I think this is in guys alike. I know a guy that is a seasoned military combat veteran, good friend of mine, and he lives and dies with this thing, man. By Shield. I mean, that's his carry gun. He's in love with the thing, and I'm wondering now that if he'll go to the Plus. He has a 2.0 right now, but
nice.
I mean, they're just a great piece. And do you have any advice for ladies as they kind of, they're looking for guns? And I know you work for Smith, but what can you kind of? You all have generally smaller hands. Now, in my wife and I's case, she has longer fingers than I do, but all of us are made a little different,
We are.
So, what for the ladies would you say to look for in a handgun when they're looking around the shop?
I think that the biggest thing, especially with grip size, obviously with something this small, it's not going to be an issue for the vast majority of people, but you have to be able to reach the face of the trigger properly. If you can't get a high, good grip along the back strap of the pistol and reach the trigger, then it's probably not going to be the best option for you, because you're going to have to modify your grip so much that it'll be very challenging for you to control recoil and maintain good shooting habits while you're on the range. So that's a big one. Smith & Wesson actually has an entire series for new gun owners called Smith & Wesson Gun Smarts. If you head to their YouTube channel, we go through so many different things that, it's not male or female specific, but there's a lot of good information there about beginner knowledge. And then you can also get training, go to a class, seek out the bullet hole and ask for advice on how to get started in shooting. Because this way you're not going to create all of those bad habits that you're going to have to break. Because it's very hard to do that. But you can start out on the right foot and just really focus on having a good start. But again, you have to have a pistol that fits your hand well. Yeah. And sometimes we think we know what that is because we grab onto, women will grab onto a handle like a baseball bat kind of thing. Oh, yeah, it feels good in my hand. No. Make sure you work on getting a nice high grip and are able to reach the trigger. Those are very, very important.
Very, very good. I appreciate that. And for our Empower Her program, I know they're going to be going through pistol fitment. During that entire program, there's going to be a section for pistol fitment so that the ladies can, that we have a huge library of guns that folks can rent for the range.
That's awesome.
And so Abby, I know you've talked to Abby and Abby
Yeah.
Epps, and she's going to be very, very involved in that. And then Brian Holmes, our other lead instructor, that's going to be involved in that program. And starting April 14th, by the way, if I'll put a shameless plug in for it.
Very good.
But so that's coming up right upon us here. That's
Yeah.
the first time. It's a 4-week deal, so that's 4 weeks on Wednesdays. Yeah. In succession, and then we'll do it. I think probably a month or two after that, another round. Yeah, they go through if I can say it, pistol fitment. There we go. I can't talk today.
So it's yeah.
But this will be one of them that they'll go through with for sure, because we have more than one shield in our library, so. So that way they can get used to them and check them out. But hopefully, like I said, someday we want you to be able to come down and be with us here at the Bullet Hole. Of course, we're the largest indoor shooting range in Kansas City. A lot of people don't know that, and the oldest. The Hodgson, the Hodgson family started the Bullet Hole back in 1967.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the original. I'm actually sitting in the original building for Hodgson powder as we talk. So
that's cool. What history? That's so neat.
It is. We were blessed. I don't know how long ago that was now. I think it was last October. We had 4 generations either on the phone or in the same room right here in our studio. And we sat down with the Hodgson family. Folks can go back on our YouTube channel and check it out and look at. Actually, it's on the full episode is on our podcast site. So, where we sit down for like an hour or more with.
That's lovely. That's so nice.
It is. I've been blessed. We've been blessed to know JB, Bob, and Chris and Joel for years, and they've been great folks and great friends here too. So yeah, I mean the Bullet Hole has a huge history. So, and we're doing some upgrades right now over there.
Nice.
So, we're actually putting in a full rifle range.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah,
that's great.
It wasn't rated, and so we're doing all our baffling and everything now, and so it'll be rated for 308, that'll be hopefully done within the next 60 days. We've been saying that for a year because we've had some engineering problems and some other construction.
and 2020 happened.
yes, there was a little thing called COVID happened. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of good things going on, and that's next door to where I'm at right now. But invite folks to come on down, and then check out Julie. How can they check you out on Instagram and all the socials?
Yeah, it's easy. It's just my name, JuliegOlob, and that's my website, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that. You can find me very easily.
There you go. So if you want to follow Julie and see her, I follow. I think did you put up a picture of your dog the other day?
Yes, I did.
So, if you want to get to know Julie a little bit better, follow her on the socials, on the gram, on Facebook, and then I know once you get back out on the competition, that has been hampered really, over the last year for everybody.
Yeah. It's been challenging for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know, are they going to be able to kind of start some of that back up this year?
So a lot of matches have, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. So one of the biggest challenges for a lot of people right now is ammo, because they can't, competition shooters go through a lot of ammo. Yeah. And so, a lot of these major tournaments are actually setting up ammunition purchases as well, so that people can come out and they'll know that they'll have ammo available, which is nice. But it's major logistic, problem, When you weren't able to travel, and now you're able to travel, but you can't shoot, kind of thing.
And I think, anybody that's in this show, whether, just people coming to the range, we fight really hard to keep range ammo here at the range, for folks to buy and use. I mean, that's something we fight tooth and nail for, quite honestly. And then shelf stuff for retail, but I look forward to, and as we close up here, I know you probably are at home, and course, shooting, you just mentioned it here a while ago. It's an appreciable skill. You're probably at home and you got a safe wall to point at, and you're doing your dry fire.
Yeah.
As a competition shooter, can you let us in just how many hours do you or a day, maybe is it 15 minutes, or is it like an hour a day of just dry fire?
Of dry fire, it's not something that I do all year round, intense kind of like, oh, I'm training every day, because there's lulls and it depends on the sport. But I'll spend a good amount of time, when I'm just first starting out, at least 15, 20 minutes. And if for some reason I can't get to the range or the weather's bad or something, then I'll do that kind of 15, 20-minute session a few different times during the day. The thing that you want to remember, it's almost like working out, right? You could sit there and beat your body all day long, but if you're not going through using the right technique, you could be injured. You're going to make bad habits come out. You want your dry fire to be absolutely perfect. So the perfect amount of dry fire comes down to how much your hands can take it. So it's going to be less for beginners versus experienced shooters. And two, how long you can mentally focus on being perfect and working on different skills through that session. So I have a pair of pants in my office with the rig set up ready to go.
I'll be doggone.
Come downstairs, put on my dry fire pants and put on a gun and get to it. So it works out. Yeah. But if you make it easy for yourself, it takes a lot of the stress, and schedule it, put it in your phone, little reminder kind of thing.
Yeah.
But even if it's 10 minutes a day, even if it's 5 minutes a day, if you dry fire every day or every other day, your gun handling skills, your shooting skills, your confidence with your firearm is going to go up exponentially.
And Julie's not just speaking as a competition shooter; she's speaking as a mom, as a wife, and you got responsibilities, you got things to do around the house. I mean, you just got to make time. So it's something that we all got to do. Well, I appreciate you so much coming on and being with us, Julie. It has been a pleasure. Yes, it has been a true pleasure. Hope we can do it again, and hopefully someday we'll be here live. So
trigger time. Yeah.
So looking forward to it. But until then, we'll let folks off, and we always point back here. This does say the bullet hole, by the way.
It does, bullet hole.
Yeah.
You should learn sign language and spell it out.
But protect, compete, and learn. And we want to invite everybody down to the bullet hole here in Overland Park. And as well as if they want to hop onto our website, thebullet.com, they can check out all of our training and classes by scrolling all the way down to the bottom. There'll be an icon there. You can click on it and find out all of our training and classes that are going on. Everything from basic stuff all the way up to advanced pistol. And then once we get the rifle range set up, we're going to be doing some pretty advanced rifle stuff as well. So we're excited. We do currently have our tactical bays that are used up. They're used up quite a bit of the time, but by different. Well, there's USPSA, there's I-Corps and IDPA, and then the law enforcement agencies, they use it as well. So there's a lot going on here, and if you want to find out, follow us on Facebook as well, and then on Instagram too. So, and then I think we're on some other platforms as well.
You're everywhere.
We're on Parler, we're on MeWe, on all that, and we don't necessarily always post over there, but on the main Gram and the Facebooks, we're on there. So, but so glad to have you. I'm honored, and it's a privilege. We've been in touch over the years. It's been a while, but we finally got reconnected, and so glad to have you. And look forward to having you again. Thank you for your time. So
my pleasure. It's been fun.
Until next time, y'all, be safe. Please be safe out there. And again, as it says behind me, protect, compete, and learn. And come on down to the bullet hole. Talk to you later.